Do begin tonight with former President Trump combative as he took questions at the National Association of Black Journalists Convention in Chicago. Trump questioning Vice President Kamala Harris's race. Vice President Harris is the first black woman and Asian American to serve as vice president. Trump trying to cast doubt on Kamala Harris's racial identity, but was fact-checked on that stage by our own Rachel Scott, who was one of the journalists asking the questions today. Tonight, the White House responding and what the Harris campaign is now saying. Rachel Scott leading us off from Chicago.
Tonight, in an often contentious forum before the National Association of Black Journalists, former President Donald Trump challenging Vice President Kamala Harris's racial identity. It came after I asked Trump about his supporters' attacks on Harris as a, quote, DEI hire. DEI being short for diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is only on the ticket because she is a black woman?
Well, I can say no. I think it's maybe a little bit different. So I've known her a long time indirectly, not directly very much. And she was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she black?
She is always identified as a black woman. She went to a historically black college.
I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't, because she was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn and she became a black person.
Just to be clear, sir, do you believe that she is...
I think somebody should look into that too when you ask continue in a very hostile, nasty tone.
It's a direct question, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is a DEI hire, as some Republicans have said?
I really don't know. I really don't know. Could be. Could be.
Harris is both the first black woman and the first Asian American to serve as vice president. She graduated from Howard University, is a member of a historically black sorority, and when she was elected senator, she joined the Congressional Black Caucus. Tonight, the White House calling Trump's words insulting.
What you just read out to me is repulsive, it's insulting, and, you know, no one has any right to tell someone who they are.
Trump was also asked about his running mate, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance, who has been on defense for past comments calling women without children childless cat ladies who are miserable. Harris Faulkner of Fox News asking,
when you look at J.D. Vance, is he ready on day one?
Does he what?
Ready on day one, if he has to be.
I've always had great respect for him, and for the other candidates too. But historically, the choice of a vice president makes no difference. You're voting for the president, and you can have a vice president who's outstanding in every way, and I think JD is. I think that all of them would have been, but you're not voting that way. You're voting for the president. You're voting for me.
Trump not answering whether Vance is ready on day one. I also asked Trump about his pledge to pardon those convicted in the January 6th riot.
When Time magazine asked you if you would consider pardoning all the rioters, you said, yes, absolutely.
Sure.
You called them patriots. 140 police officers were assaulted that day. Were the people who assaulted those 140 officers, including those I just mentioned, patriots who deserve pardons?
Well, let me bring it back to modern day, like about 5 days ago.
Trump then talking about the recent anti-Israel protests in Washington, protesters defacing monuments. But I asked him again, would he pardon the January 6 rioters convicted of assaulting police officers?
My question is on those rioters who assaulted officers.
You have to
would you pardon
what's
those
going to
people?
happen? Oh, absolutely, I would.
You would pardon those?
If they're innocent, I would pardon them.
They've been convicted.
And by the way, the Supreme Court just well, they were convicted by a very tough system.
Rachel Scott with us live tonight from Chicago. Rachel, let's get back to the vice president and these questions about racial identity. You fact-checked the former president in real time. Obviously, we know the facts here. How is the Harris campaign responding to this tonight?
David, tonight the Harris campaign is not directly responding to those attacks from former President Donald Trump on Harris's racial identity, but they did release this statement saying, quote, the hostility Donald Trump showed on stage today is the same hostility he has shown throughout his life, throughout his term in office, and throughout his campaign for president. They add, Trump has already proven he cannot unite America, so he attempts to divide us. David.
Rachel Scott among the moderators asking the questions today. Rachel, thank you.